If you ever think to yourself during the course of this, Zach, you don't sound great. Zach, you don't really look great either. It's because I'm sick. I've been sick for, I guess we're going on 5 days now. I went out to Pittsburgh to see some friends. We played in our alumni game, and after coming home Sunday night, I have just been in the gutter. On and off with cough, runny nose, sore throat. One night I woke up at like 12:30 and I was literally so cold that it hurt in my bones, that I just had to lay there and like take it for a minute until my body was like, okay, we can do something now. Anyway, as before we get into it, if you like what you see here today, make sure to like and subscribe. If you have any thoughts about what I'm talking about, please let me know in the comments down below. Hopefully we can, continue this little growth spurt I've had lately. If you're wondering what we got in the background here, it's some 2K23 footage of Allen Iverson versus Kyrie Irving on the blacktop. And if you're wondering why, it's because I'm going to talk a little bit about Allen Iverson today. I'll be honest, if you clicked on this video, you probably know who Allen Iverson is, but at the off chance that you're an alien from a different world, I'll give you a little background. So Allen Iverson, incredible basketball prospect from a very young age. However, before he ever was even able to step foot onto a college campus to play, he found himself in trouble with the law that you may know about. So what happened was Allen Iverson and some of his friends were present at a bowling alley when a fight broke out. And to make a long story short, Iverson and one of his buddies were pinned for essentially starting like a gang fight in the bar. Absolutely ridiculous charges. However, because of the nature of America's judiciary system, he did end up in prison. He received a 15-year prison sentence and actually served, I think it was about 6 months of that, before the governor communed his, is it communed? Communed it? He communed it? I don't know. He got rid of, he said, Allen, and this, he said, this is ridiculous. Get you out of jail. Following his release, he immediately went to play basketball at Georgetown University. Once he gets to Georgetown University, things turned around a lot. He was underneath Coach Thompson at the time, and he even credits Coach Thompson with pretty much being like a father figure to him, to being the individual that helped really set him on the straight and narrow and put his focus towards basketball. So after a short stint at Georgetown, I think it was only 2 seasons, Allen Iverson is drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers and wins Rookie of the Year. In the next couple years, I believe he ends up leading the league in scoring 4 times. In those first few years, I believe he got it maybe once or twice in those first 3 years. I focus on that because during the off season from the 2001-2002 season, Iverson was actually arrested again on charges of he was alleged to have entered a home where his family members lived, and whilst looking for it was either girlfriend or wife at the time, it was alleged that he was brandishing a weapon. So it's alleged that Iverson had a gun. However, due to conflicting testimony of witnesses in the instance, all but one charge was eventually dropped against Iverson, and the judge summed it up by saying that he thinks it was a situation where a relative was looking for another relative in another relative's home. Things got heated, and it got out of hand. Now, as many of you know, Iverson kind of had a knack for taking up the spotlight in his NBA career. This extends on the court. Iverson was essentially one of the first players to willingly brandish things like braids, cornrows, get real nice and tatted up, wear kind of what you would call street clothes. He was one of the first individuals to really come into the league and do that, and since he was a star as quickly as he was, it got a lot of attention. your older guys in the league, they were, like I said, older. They were old school. They, you don't get all the jewelry. You try not to stand out. You try to just fall in line. Iverson, obviously. Iverson was not a man to fall in line. I think we all know that, and I think that's part of the reason he is who he is and why we love him. I can tell you for a fact that Allen Iverson him and Shaq were the first two people that I remember seeing play basketball. Now, this was after both of their careers. It was like highlights and stuff, but they were the first two that I really remember watching and be like, bro, this is so sick. Like, if I could do any of this, I'd just lose my mind. I love watching both of them. Iverson still to this day is one of the most fun players that you can watch. So, due to the fact that Iverson was not only a great basketball player, but also had a tendency to get himself talked about, despite the fact that he finished numerous time All-Star, multiple time scoring champ, one-time MVP. It's fair to say that he had a bit of a tumultuous career. Not that it wasn't successful, not that he's not remembered in a kind light, but a lot of people definitely look at his career, especially towards the end, and have a big what if. What if he would have been more willing to sacrifice his role? What if he would have been more willing to do things like come off the bench? Now I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Something that's been in the news a lot more recently involves an individual by the name of Emoni Bates. So Emoni Bates is a super high-level recruit. I believe he's third in his class, the class of 2022. He just finished up his season at Memphis. Didn't have a great season, ended up sitting out a lot of it due to injury. Overall, very disappointing from what a lot of people thought was going to be the next Kevin Durant, we throw around the next Kevin Durant like it's the new next LeBron or next Jordan. It's the next Kevin Durant. Obviously, nobody ever lives up to that. But unfortunately for Emoni Bates, he was recently arrested for gun charges. He was pulled over, I believe, for speeding, and upon search of the vehicle, they found a firearm with the identification number removed, the PIN, I believe. So I've been trying to keep a close eye on this Emoni Bates situation for the last few days. Yesterday we had his arraignment. They pleaded not guilty. Pretty standard stuff. There's belief that they're going to have a plea deal met before his, I believe, November 16th hearing. However, we're yet to see that. I honestly kind of find it annoying how little reporting there's been on this. I looked at Google for Emoni Bates in the news section, and if you go for the last 24 hours, hell, I think there's been 3 articles posted on the kid. We have somebody who it's frustrating because I feel like it already feels like the world is giving up on Emoni. You had somebody who was an incredibly bright prospect through middle and high school, who got to college, didn't have a great season, and now you have this arrest. And it seems like so many people are ready to write him off. And I would like to hear those same people when all this stuff with Allen Iverson went down. Because some of the takes I've seen, it's truly amazing what people are willing to look into a crystal ball and foretell, when we've had instances like this in the past with Allen Iverson, where a young individual ends up in prison, whether the charges are justified or not, and turns it around and becomes an incredible player, becomes an MVP caliber individual. Now, am I saying Emoni Bates is the next Allen Iverson? No. There is no Allen Iverson after Allen Iverson, and that's the end of it. However, it really frustrates me how people are approaching the situation. A lot of people are already throwing him out. A lot of people are already deeming him as a bust. Some people don't even foresee him being taken in the first round if he does declare. And it's one of those things that it blows my mind, you know? You have a young man who, from an incredibly young age, I say young man, he's 18, he's literally 5 years younger than me. But from a very early age, something I can't even begin to imagine, he had a spotlight on him. He was under the microscope from like such an early point with his skill and his ability that it's almost inevitable that things like this were bound to happen. It's rare that you get somebody that doesn't eventually have some of those negative influences in their life impact their life, impact their path, impact their journey. Because when you have all that around you, you have everybody trying to talk to you, everybody trying to get in your pocket, everybody trying to, be your buddy or look out for you, allegedly. It's almost inevitable that you're going to make a mistake. And that's exactly what Emoni Bates did here. He made a mistake, and I mean, God, hopefully he is going to be able to learn from it going forward. Hopefully, it's one of those situations where going to Eastern Michigan University, I looked up, God, what's his name? I forget the coach's name off the top of my head. He's been there for a minute. He hasn't had a great record at Eastern Michigan, but he has a overall positive record as a coach. He's a father of, I believe, 2 girls on the volleyball team. He seems like a solid guy. I don't know that he's a Coach Thompson, but I would hope that somebody can either come into Emoni's life and mentor him a bit, or maybe somebody that's already in his life can step up and push him in the right direction. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't anybody in his life who hasn't been pushing him in the right direction. His father has pretty much been his basketball coach for a large percentage of his life. They started his own prep school. That's where Emoni attended his senior year. Played very well, but went under the radar because they weren't able to play as good of teams as if he stayed at the high school he had been at. So it's not like he doesn't have people that care about him, and it's not like he doesn't have people that are looking out for him. But it's one of those situations where obviously not all those people that are caring about him, that are looking out for him, have the best interest in mind. Something I was thinking about with this situation was it surprises me that you don't see more big name athletes kind of stepping up. Maybe not stepping up, but kind of going behind the scenes. And maybe they are. Maybe that's the thing, is that they're behind the scenes. They don't see it. But I would really hope that somebody in the NBA, maybe somebody in even a foreign league or something like that, like somebody who has been through it, I would hope they extended a hand out to Emoni, and hopefully are, like I said, trying to lead him through this situation. Because there's a lot of guys in the league who have had run-ins with the law, guys who have had serious issues throughout their career that have learned from it and have went on to not only be successful, but to be better individuals than they were before those mistakes. And I would really hope that somebody can ideally project some of that energy towards Emoni and lead him in the right direction. I hope the overarching idea that I was getting at there made sense. I understand that it was kind of wild to talk about Allen Iverson and then kind of just switch gears immediately to Emoni Bates, but I hope you see the parallels between the two. You got 2 enormously talented ball players who, from a young age, got involved with the wrong people, have experiences with the penal system in America, and one of them was written off by a ton of people, and the other one is currently being written off by a ton of people. Obviously, we know what happened with Allen Iverson. We know it worked out. We know he's the answer. He's the legend that we know today. And I mean, all best wishes to Emoni Bates. I'm not going to make a comment on who he is as a person. He made a mistake. We all make mistakes, but I know he's a hell of a ball player, and hopefully he can, use this situation to learn, to grow as a person, and ideally succeed from it. All right, so I hope you enjoyed what you saw here today. Ideally, when I come back, I'm not going to sound like this. I'm going to sound normal. But in the meantime, my name is Zachary Taylor. Thank you for your time today.